Maybe in the larger scheme of things, India might have called the shots and killed him to dismantle the Khalistani movement, as you can say.
The allegations are that Indian government has probably committed an act of terrorism sort of thing, like in Canada, in a way that like it has killed an American, killed a Canadian citizen.
Indira Gandhi's killing is celebrated by the Khalistani population in Canada. And Canada doesn't do anything about it. So Canada is kind of supporting this separatist movement on their own grounds.
Just the fact that it's not proved yet doesn't justify Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau's like affirmative action and call and like calling out the Indian government against it.
At the same time, we're also learning that American spy agencies had provided information to Canada that the Sikh separatist leader was killed. At the same time, the U.S. Foreign Department is not exactly going against India or giving any statements against India. So therein lies another gray area.
They had been termed as a terrorist organization or a separatist organization. And we need to delve into the reason why Trudeau made this U-turn.
Welcome to DYNT News. Today we are discussing issue of grave importance. India and Canada are fighting each other in a cold way and the gloves are off. So we today are going to discuss something which is very problematic, but we're trying to bring something of interest to the viewers. Today we have with us Devjit and Shovan. So Shovan will open with his opening comments. Shovan.
So we have to take into account how this has started. And this is, we have taken into consideration the Khalistani movement. Now, a lot of people will say that Khalistani movement is funded or is going on to destabilize India. Another perspective we need to take into account is, what does the people of Punjab want? We know there's a huge amount of Sikh population in Canada who are in support of the Khalistani movement. Now we will talk about the person who has been killed, Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Now the Canadian government is saying that it was India who called the shots and killed him. I'm not going into details about this thing, but this is a huge allegation. And Justin Trudeau came up with this. And there's some political things which led to this, where Modi might have ignored him, and maybe as a reactionary politics, he called upon this. But there's no concrete proof to this thing. Maybe in the larger scheme of things, India might have called the shots and killed him to dismantle the Khalistani movement, as you can say. But on another hand, Indira Gandhi's killing is celebrated by the Khalistani population in Canada. And Canada doesn't do anything about it. So Canada is kind of supporting this separatist movement on their own grounds. So my point of view is that even if India did it, there's no proof. But even if India did it, there is some kind of justification to it. So if your home is attacked, you have to do something about it. And what the Indian government did, if they did it, it was right.
Okay, next we go to Shovan. Shovan, next we go Devjit. Devjit, opening comments.
My comments is slightly more like ambiguous, I guess, in a way. Like I don't know whom to support directly, but obviously it's a weird place. I mean, Shovan has like probably established the fact that why India and Canada is in as it splits right now. I am slightly weirded out by this. Like it's so the allegations are that Indian government has probably committed an act of terrorism sort of thing, like in Canada, in a way that like it has killed killed a Canadian citizen. Whether the citizen was a Khalistani separatist or not, whether they had committed acts of terror in India against an Indian citizen or not, if the Indian government, but it's not proved yet, but if in a hypothetical world or even in a real world, once it gets proved, if it gets proved, if they have committed an act, if the Indian government led to the killing of a Canadian citizen in Canadian soil, then obviously it's wrong by the Indian government. There's no doubts about that. But if they did it, my thing is, it's not proved yet, and that just the fact that it's not proved yet doesn't justify Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau's like affirmative action and calling out the Indian government against it, since it's not proved yet. So it's like I am in doubts of whom to support. Essentially, is it because even if, let's say that even if the Indian government or the Indian government is involved with the killing of this Khalistani separatist guy, doesn't warrant the Canadian government to speak publicly to it against a country which is still in friendly ties with it on paper. We can again speak as Showan spoke that maybe there was splits beforehand, and that's why Trudeau went on affirmative. But we still have diplomatic ties with Canada. So the first thing that Canadian government should have done is probably try to resolve it at the back doors. You don't generally try and go on the affirmative with a country who you are in diplomatic ties with. So that's where I'm coming from. And yeah, we can probably discuss more on it, but that's probably just my opening comment.
Okay, well, India has kind of projected that there are lots of shocking material to these allegations that India has killed Nijjar and other political kings that has been done. So there is a context to this, and the context is that there is some Hindu versus Sikh angle here, and we all know Lawrence Bishnoi has taken responsibility for killing other Sikh gangsters, quote unquote, separatists as well as terrorists in India's political lingo. And we are not going to discuss on that. At the same time, I would like to remind the viewers that Times Now has done a report where Modi has apparently personally rejected Trudeau's allegations, and that is why Trudeau has gone in sunshine and projected these allegations against the Indian government. At the same time, we are also learning that American spy agencies had provided information to Canada that the Sikh separatist leader was killed. At the same time, the U.S. Foreign Department is not exactly going against India or giving any statements against India. So therein lies another gray area which maybe DYNT would explore in future. But as someone who has been watching these things for a long time, I think there is some problematic things that are happening in India as well, because we see how Sid Musewala was gunned down, and there also there was a role of Lawrence Bishnoi, and Lawrence Bishnoi's name comes up. Then there's another Indian ex-user, skin doctor, who controversially has been screenshotted giving threat to Canadian parliamentarians that they are going to be killed and this and that, and there are issues with that. So controversy hasn't gone down. But I would like to ask Devjit about the issue of students in Canada. Like, what will happen? How do you think this is going to impact the soft relations and the Hindus of Canada of Indian origin, who are also saying that they are receiving threats but at the same time we have been exposed to material where the tweeting that is has been done is apparently from source code. So it is not exactly known what is happening. Are the Sikhs going after Hindus in Canada? Do you know anything about that? Since you are in the northern hemisphere, Devjit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's where my thing comes in as well. My problem comes in as well. It's that like uh, Canada has a sizable Indian population out here. They have Canada currently has like 40 million citizens. It's a big country, but it has just 40 million people out there. 4% of it, almost 3.97 or something percent of it, has comes from Indian origin. This is not considering the huge amount of non-immigrant but students that go every year from Canada, from India to Canada. So there is a sizable population who is tied back to India, and not only Sikhs. There's all different people who come in from all different parts of India. So that is one aspect of it where I think that the Canadian government going on an open allegation against India doesn't wage good for its own benefits in a way, because obviously when students or any community goes to a place, it boosts its local environment, local economy, and all of that. So that's where it was weird, because generally we had a friendly relation. We all know when Trudeau in 2018 came and like wore all of those like sherwanis and all that, danced to Punjabi songs and all of that. So um, that was slightly worrying, that why he did that. Um, Whether the Indian community there is facing threats from the Khalistani separatists out there. We have seen videos emerge where Khalistani separatists have openly waged war, that Hindus leave Canada and all of that. So that's never good. That's never good. I'm not sure that that has translated into anything worrying on ground yet, but at least on videos there have been threats, and that is never good. Even for Canada, I'm not sure Canada wants like its own citizens waging a war against a community who economically boost Canada's economy. Canada is not in a great economic shape. It has reduced from fifth in the world. I think 10 years ago it's to ninth. I don't think it fits for Trudeau's prime ministership tenure as well, that they are already a sinking economy, and they are almost like fleeing away, like scaring away the one community that is helping it by coming their fee, like getting into their college student loan fees and all that. So that's one aspect of it. The another aspect of it, which I find Trudeau's support for this slightly weird, is that, and yeah, maybe he, like, good point. Someone brought me up that maybe he tried to bring it back doors before going on the affirmative in public, and he probably couldn't get his word through. Maybe India rejected him. That's a good point, but I don't think this is as big an issue for a prime minister to speak openly. It can be handled by his lower minister, all the other ministers as well, or within two different countries. So that's where I was like slightly worried, because Trudeau himself in 2018, when he came to India, he and Modi signed a pact which said that like we would work together to remove against all the known terrorism groups, and Babbar Khalsa, which is one of the fractions of the Khalistani separatists who, like a known terrorist organization, which is from a fraction of the Khalistani separatists. Babbar Khalsa was in that list, and yet now that seems to be, Trudeau seems to have done a U-turn and like almost favored people who are related to that. So I'm not sure that's going to be good. It's not going to be good for the Indian community, whether citizens of Canada or just non-immigrant population who are just the students or workers out there. It will definitely not be good. Not for Canada, not for them. And I hope that two countries which have been friendly for a long while can resolve this matter outside of the public view soon.
I just want
Okay.
to add a point out here. First of all, like, we need to understand that all the Punjabis all the people from the Sikh community in Canada are not against India. So it's just a fraction of the people living out there. So, as Devjit said, they had been termed as a terrorist organization or a separatist organization. And we need to get and delve into the reason why Trudeau made this U-turn. So Trudeau didn't have majority, and this Khalistan faction, Khalistan supporting pro-Khalistan faction, helped him to retain his position in the Canadian government as president, sorry, or prime minister. So that factor is also there. So maybe these people have some kind of condition, or maybe these people are forcing Trudeau to say some things which he knows that it might deteriorate the relation between two countries. And the most dangerous thing about it is that the Hindu community in Canada, they might also face the backlash, because we already have seen reports coming out that there's friction between the Sikh community and the Hindu community in Canada. So it's very much about how Canada controls this situation, and I don't think there's India has anything to do with this thing which is happening in Canada regarding the Hindu community.
Okay, but I think from an India perspective, whatever is happening in Canada is a different thing, and India may take some measures, hard measures, but these things generally mane, are dealt with in a different manner. And I think this issue wouldn't have become such a big issue, diplomatic issue, if Modi had massaged the ego of Justin Trudeau. Whether India has killed or not, we really don't know. But it has been reported in Indian media that Justin Trudeau was not handled that well, was not given the importance that he wanted. So we are looking at these developments, and we are trying to engage with this in the best possible way. At the same time, I also like to tell you that lots of Sikh people in India have already been victims of this Khalistani propaganda, and Canada has come out and said that there is no place for hate against Hindus in Canada. But at the same time, at Twitter, we are seeing fake propaganda that Hindus are being attacked. So there are bigger powers at play here, and some sort of social engineering is being done outside of India in Canada, and we have seen previously also in Australia there was Sikh versus Hindu thing. How much of that was in Indian citizens fighting against each other, I don't know. Then at the same time, during cricket match, there was India was Pakistan cricket match. After that, there was riots in Leicestershire, and we see it was mainly the UK Hindu population fighting the UK Muslim population. There also, here it was seen that the Hindutva powers there were doing all these problematic things. So let's watch DYNT News and stay tuned to DYNT News and follow us so that we can bring you interesting videos. Like, share, and subscribe. DYNT, Democratize our nation today. Our tagline: Awaken one human at a time. Thank you for watching this video.